This is David with High Performance Stoicism. I want to tell you this: Stoics don't accept what's out of your control. Now, Epictetus famously states at the beginning of his handbook, some things are in our control and some things are not in our control. And what should we do with that information? It's clear that we should work on what's within our control, but it's less clear what we should do with the things that are out of our control or out of our power. And many people say we must accept the things that are out of our control. I want to tell you that is actually false. And here's why. There are a number of things the Stoics say we should do with what's out of our control. And you can get this from reading them, reading Epictetus' Enchiridion, Marcus Aurelius' Meditations, and other things. And let's just start with one that is not much discussed, but it's important, and it is ignore the things that are out of your control. There are many things going on around us that distract us. There are many things that are happening that upset us once we start to dig into them. And in the world, there's a lot of conflict, there is war, and it's easy to get caught up in the news with determining, well, how should I feel about this? What's the best thing to do here? But in most cases, these events aren't going to touch your life directly. In most cases. And so the Stoics recognize there's a number of things that are out of your control you should just ignore. And one of them could be the news. Just tune in for a few minutes a day to find out what are the big stories, but for the rest of it, just ignore what's out of your control. Here's another thing that you should ignore that's out of your control: what people say to you, especially if it's something negative. In other words, take a situation where you're at a pop party, you hear somebody say something against you, or somebody says something that you're meant to hear, and what do we do in this situation? We take in what they say, and sometimes that can make us upset, get us involved in a conflict, but you are always free to just ignore what they say and let the jerk say the things about you that they think are negative. You win in many cases when you just ignore what is out of your control. The Stoics highlight another thing you should do with the things that are out of your control, and it might sound similar to acceptance, but it's different. You should despise the things that are out of your control. What that means, contrary to what many people think, it's not that you should hate them, it's that you should look down upon them. And these can be both positive things or negative things as you're trying to focus on something. So something negative comes up and it's a email where somebody asks you to do something. It's a bit of a hassle. Well, it's out of your power that they did send you this email. But if you just look down upon it and say, it's not that important, what they're asking is maybe unreasonable or rude, but you could just look down upon the thing and then maintain your mental equilibrium. This also works for positive things. So if you have a day where you're doing something that requires a lot of work, you have to meet a deadline, and then you get an email that's a positive one, you got accepted, your work got accepted somewhere, or you got the job, sometimes just look down upon it, for the meantime, despise it, and then it won't bother you. Despising what's out of your control can also be helpful if you're on a diet. You walk past a bakery and then there's your favorite kind of pie, key lime pie. It looks delicious, but just despise it and recognize it's not that important, and then you'll forget about it. So, here's another thing the Stoics say we should do with what's out of our control. And this is one that is going to be a tough one, but it's good in practicing Stoicism to start practicing it. Do it when you can, and you'll see it can change the way you respond to things. And that is welcome events that are out of your control. Someone who can successfully welcome all events out of their control, that's the sage. That's the wise man. That's the virtuous person. And so don't count on you're doing this consistently for event after event, especially the unwanted ones. But if you see events that come across your path as being, yes, it's there, it's a challenge, but I'm going to welcome it, you're going to be much better at handling it if you face it in that spirit. So welcome events that are out of your power, out of your control, and you'll see, okay, I can deal with this squarely. And especially the things you don't want to face, if you just say, okay, I'm going to welcome this, that'll help me to meet this challenge, then you'll be much better able to deal with it. And so you could say, isn't acceptance in there and welcoming? I would agree acceptance is there and welcoming, but there is a difference because it's easy to fool ourselves that we accept some events because often this acceptance comes with some resistance because we don't want it to happen. Welcoming is more wholehearted, and you could say it does require logically acceptance. There's something to that. But what about acceptance? Okay, I said the Stoics don't say we must accept what's out of our control, but they also do in certain parts. If we read them carefully, they are saying accept events that are out of your control. So the point here is it's not the case that acceptance is what you should do for all events. We should ignore some, we should despise some, we should welcome some. Try it. Try each of these options. And sometimes accepting the thing is going to be the wise thing to do. But you just don't want to get mixed up on this whole matter because of something in our culture, which I believe is the origin of this view. We must accept what's in our control. And this comes from the famous serenity prayer, which is God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change. And so that's, I believe, the origin of this view that we must accept things that are not in our control. But I just want you to recognize you don't have to. And now you have a menu of really effective ways to deal with things that are out of your control. Improvise, try it out, and tell me in the comments how it worked for you. That's it for today's talk. Like, subscribe, and comment, and I'll accept any of those actions from you.